Hello and welcome to Bull and Bear Cryptocurrency Analysis News and Education. My name is James Gore and this video is for the 16th of July 2018. I'm going to be jumping into our market update today, then technicals in the big three, and just going over some coins we spoke about in the last video, but I thought looked decent for an entry, and then going to news for the past 24 hours. We have some very interesting developments in the space indeed. So first things first, the total market cap has gained about $17 billion in total since we last covered it, $260 billion at the moment. 24-hour volume is on a relatively low side at $13 billion still, with Bitcoin's dominance increasing at 42.4%. And if we scroll through the top 100, these past 24 hours, we can see majority of coins seeing single-digit gains, some even double-digit gains. We take a quick look at the biggest gainers from the top 100 today. It is 10x with 48.2% gain. It's been a while since we've seen such significant gains from any single coin in the market for quite some time. Followed by MOAC, 20%, followed by Kin, 18.69%. Biggest loss is KuCoin shares, 6.99%, followed by VeChain, 2.46%, Bitcoin Diamond, and Mithril, and then obviously Tether is averaging out. So there's only really 4 coins for the top 100 that we're seeing are not providing any valuation. So let's quickly talk about the charts today. Let's talk about what's been going on, talk about expectations for the future, what this means, and we had a very nice weekend. As we can see, we had 2 inside bars in a row forming, price compression, some consolidation, and we had a nice break to the upside with the first stop at the 12 moving average exponential. However, increase in bull momentum continued through till today. It's only halfway through the day today as well, and we're steadily approaching the 50-day moving average. Okay, so on the daily time frame, we're approaching the 6,723 USD mark. We'll probably stop just before to see some profit taking, tiny bit of profit taking. But if we look at the volume on today's candle, it's almost as much as yesterday's, and we're only halfway through the day so far. Histogram's trending upwards, obviously RSI is trending upwards. No real signs things are slowing down just yet, so things are looking pretty decent since this bounce. Looks like we zoom out a bit as well. If we go to the weekly time frame, we can talk about what this actually means for the close of these candles. So just zooming in, we can see we had a bounce from the 6,075 USD mark right here, long the wick. And what we're looking to see today, not today, but this week rather, is if we can break above the 6,800 USD level. And that'll be a nice confirmation of trend continuation. Then we can approach the 12 moving average exponential on the weekly time frame, and it means that we'll be starting the beginnings of an uptrend, which is what we need to see. It'd be nice to see for BTC and obviously the rest of the market. Bitcoin's actually up 4.5% today. Typically doesn't see that much love when the market does well. It's usually 1 to 3%, so this is pretty decent. Looking at Ethereum moving forward, Ethereum again, similar scenario, currently just breaking above the 26 moving average exponential. What we'd be looking to see for Ethereum is to see if it can close above this level at the 468 USD mark, because that'd be a sign again that we can retest, bounce off, and then rally on to higher levels at 500 USD ranges, roughly where the 50-day moving average is likely to be hovering around if we continue to rally on, which is we're likely to see based on current volume levels with these candles. So again, no real signs of momentum slowing just yet. Looking at Litecoin, LTC USD, and again, very similar story. Litecoin, what we're again hoping to see is, interesting enough with Litecoin, it's a bit of a different story. Litecoin always seems to be struggling at the moment, but I had 2 inside bars in a row. One almost broke bearish, one almost broke the pattern. Decreasing bear volume. Looks like we have decreasing bull volume in today's candle as well. It's half of the yesterday's candle, so it's not exactly as strong as Bitcoin or Ethereum, but nonetheless, hopefully a close block above the 12 moving average exponential at 79.80 USD would or more would signify some kind of level of support that we can retest and bounce off and continue to rally on higher and higher. If we don't see that, it's absolutely fine, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to uptrend. It just means that we have to have a bit of a waiting game with Litecoin again. Looking at Bitcoin Cash in a very similar position to Ethereum, except it's had a few days of decent bull volume on these charts. Actually had trim reversal candle, but we managed to not see confirmation for that. Instead, spinning top signaled indecision, and then we had the break to the upside, closed just above the 12 moving average exponential, which is what I was talking about with Litecoin, retested and rallied onto a high level. So now what we want to see is a repeat of yesterday and today's candle on Bitcoin Cash, where we close above the 26 moving average exponential this time, retest and rally onto a high level. Okay, histogram trending upwards, RSI trending upwards. RSI on Bitcoin Cash is at 50, and on Litecoin it's around 46, 51 for Ethereum, and 53 for Bitcoin. So again, when the RSI crosses above 50 to the upside, generally speaking, it looks like coin's looking a bit healthier, a bit stronger. Okay, so just quickly checking in. The first coin I want to take a look at is Basic Attention Token. I haven't actually recorded a video on the channel for personal reasons. This last 2 days, but last time I mentioned BAT, we didn't have this lovely breakout. It was looking pretty decent. Holy crap! So yeah, Basic Attention Token showed up. Again, we had a looks like I think it was this candle when we checked in on the channel. We had a nice trend continuation candle, bullish reversal hammer in an uptrend with a confirmation, not confirmation, basically signals that we're going to see continuous upside. Had a nice break, and it looks like we're about to go into consolidation mode, a tiny bit of consolidation mode, with a nice pennant on the chart. So a pennant is actually, in an uptrend, is a nice bullish pattern right here. Basically signals on the chart an upper level of resistance, a lower level of support. We have our pole right here, which goes from the base to the top. And what we can see is a patterned kind of trade where we can look for an entry upon the support level and look for an exit when we have a break to the upside of the resistance. So just to give you guys a nice one to pay attention to and watch, there's a few different things at play right now. Basic Attention Token is in a trading channel, which you can see. I haven't extended it out, so if it does consolidate, it still means it's in this trading channel, which still means if you're looking for an entry, you'd be looking to make an entry upon this lower support line, which will be continuing on like so, which I'll just denote on the chart like so, just so you guys can see. Which I'll use a ray because it would be much more accurate. So attack that one like so. There we go, rough level right here. So if we do continue to find consolidation, then it'd be wise to make an entry around here. I would personally be doing that and look to make an exit roughly around the same level. Just to quickly check in on how much of a move this was. That's about 30% move that day, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, so that's one of them. My memory just quickly checking in. My memory serves me correctly. Just need to check in on EOS as well. And EOS is looking to pick up, similarly as we've seen with the major players on the chart. So I'll be looking for with EOS is similar thing, looking to close above the 12 moving average exponential, retest, break above. Just zooming out to see where we are. Looks like we're just finding support above where we previously horizontally trade, so it's likely this is going to be some kind of bottom moving forward, and we're going to find some decent levels. Ethereum Classic being listed on Coinbase, we had a bit of a cup and handle, little bowl shape right here. Looks like we're moving to consolidation mode as well, so there's trading. Likely to be a interesting time to pick up some Ethereum Classic in the advent of a Coinbase exchange listing. Okay, guys, quickly moving on to the news. So Revolut is a neo high street bank, a neobank. They've basically revealed that they're going to be providing cryptocurrency services and solutions to any jurisdiction they can, looking for a worldwide expansion, but also of the platform itself. It's currently in 120 countries right now. They're offering Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, and this can actually be quite useful or quite a downside for you, depending on where you live. Reason being, if you already have, if you're using Revolut and you're in a country and you don't have access to their cryptocurrency exchange just yet, this is an advert for Revolut. I don't rate the crypto exchange Revolut because you can't send or receive crypto off the platform and you can't see public or private keys. So it does make me a bit wary of the platform. But just a quick warning: if you are in a jurisdiction where Revolut's about to roll this out, they may limit your ability to send and receive fiat to exchanges. The reason being is we've seen a bit of that already since that their relationship with Coinbase and Kraken's bank was a bit mired recently, and I think it's a positional thing. It's because they're going to be providing a cryptocurrency service, and it's just kind of restricting their customers' access to these platforms. And I know Coinbase has changed a bit, but people that are using Kraken and Revolut still struggled. Well, basically can't send fiat to Kraken. So just something to let you guys know that, just so you can prepare. Next up, ex-BTC operator Alexander Vinnik to be extradited to France. So just to give some background here, he is accused of $4 billion worth of laundering through BTC, according to authorities. So he used coins to skirt the law and defraud thousands of victims. Moving forward, his lawyers are appealing the Greek extradition decision. He is denied of doing anything illegal and remains jailed in Greece pending final decisions on the matter. French authorities are charging Vinnik with cybercrime, money laundering, membership in a criminal organization, and extortion. Their extradition is somewhat surprising, as previous to the move, the Greek Supreme Court had approved his extradition to the US to stand trial. So obviously, a lot of countries do not like this guy for some reason. I wonder why. And it's actually quite interesting to see, one, just in general, which country is actually going to have Alexander Vinnik, which countries can be extradited to, but two, more importantly, why there's extradition in the first place? Because I'm sure Greek has their own law system that's perfectly fine. Quite an old country. It seems a bit of an seems to undermine undermine a law a bit in this country, just because there's a lot of money behind it. It seems like, because it's quite a high profile case, it kind of removes just, I don't know, it stands of practice, but what you typically expect to happen in a lawsuit, really, against a chap. So in a criminal case. So just to quickly check, he's down for 21 counts of money laundering, and he's wanted in Russia for fraud. So it's an interesting one. Okay, biggest piece of news, and funny enough, we're going to cover this pretty soon. San Francisco-based cryptocurrency exchange has announced that it will be. Actually, I want to go to their main article, which I was reading, which is more interesting. They're exploring the idea of adding, and this is straight from the horse's mouth, basic attention token, Stellar Lumens, Zcash, and 0x. Okay, so we are exploring the addition of several new assets and we'll be working with local banks and regulators to add them in as many jurisdictions as possible. Okay, local banks and regulators. So some people were surprised that Ripple wasn't on this list. And the reason is because Ripple, the token, is still in a very ambiguous place with regards to whether or not it's going to be considered security. However, again, like I previously mentioned, tokens that are specifically not securities are more likely to be listed on the exchange. Okay, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the channel or not, but basic attention token is one that I've been thinking about recently. I wanted actually to do a fundamental analysis video on, because I did get a feeling, for some reason, I don't know why my attention was drawn to it from what I was reading, but it seemed like it's a good candidate to be listed on Coinbase, and just looks like it's going to be picking up soon. We also mentioned way back, maybe 8-9 months ago, that Stellar Lumens is likely to be one of the coins that be listed on Coinbase. Reason being is it's a more friendly version of Ripple when it comes to being classified as security, and it's essentially basically the very similar technology. Zcash, I did mention that privacy coin is likely to be on Coinbase, but I mentioned Monero. Zcash seems to be the more friendly candidate, and I know some of you guys mentioned this in the comments. So my question to you guys is, which of these coins is likely to be the first one to be implemented onto Coinbase Exchange? And secondly, what do you see happening to these coins? I personally think that we're going to see these coins do pretty well on the just moving forward, if they get actual an actual announcement for support similar to Ethereum Classic, and that once they are dropped on Coinbase, the Coinbase Exchange, no longer GDAX, it's kind of Coinbase Pro and Coinbase. Once they are dropped onto Coinbase, that people are going to pick up these tokens. So I think in terms of strategy, I've already mentioned this previously, but it makes sense to hold Ethereum Classic, just because the average person that just looks at Coinbase, once they see a new cryptocurrency drop, they'll really consider buying it. The price will spike. Okay, not because of what happened with Bitcoin Cash, but just because new people are exposed to something new, they think it's the next, at least it'll give them some interest to research it maybe, but they'll think it's maybe the next thing. They'll look at the price of Ethereum, look at the price of Ethereum Classic and think, okay, this could go the way of Ethereum, because it's a new cryptocurrency, even though it's not really, it's just something new on Coinbase. So, okay, drilling a bit deeper, ironically enough, except for Zcash, I think that's my own bias with regards to liking Monero so much. I think every single token listed here is actually really, really, really solid. So moving forward, I'm really not considering, if we move into a bull market, I'd say the ones to pay attention to are Cardano, basic attention token, and 0x. I've already did a review video on Stellar Lumens, and for the 5-year, 10-year kind of game plan for Stellar Lumens, it's designed to not increase in designed to not increase in value, but it's not designed to be as not volatile, but to increase in value as much as some cryptocurrencies are. Okay, and no supply and demand ultimately is what's going to be driving the price of these tokens. But if you read the white paper in XLM, they actually, and I cover this on the channel, so I do suggest you watch the review. Just search the channel if you want, if you want to wear. But they made sure to design Stellar Lumens in such a way that it does not, it's not as attractive as an investment tool as some other cryptocurrencies. So Cardano, BAT, and 0x are the ones to watch. Zcash, I prefer Monero, but Zcash is my second privacy coin, my number 2. It's ranked number 2, but there's a bit of a gap there just because of some of the things that's going on in the background, and also just when it comes to how they implement the privacy technology. So it's my privacy coins are Monero, Zcash, and Dash that I rate, and Enigma as well. But Monero's top dog still. Moving on. So we mentioned how SIX Exchange, the parent company of Switzerland's principal stock exchange, has revealed that is open to the possibility of offering crypto trading services on its digital platform. So it's basically just a quick update, because previously they mentioned that they're looking to implement digital assets, and they specifically said they didn't say that they weren't interested in cryptocurrencies, but they basically said they won't be able to but they won't be offering any kind of crypto services with this digital exchange. I mentioned how they're providing the infrastructure to be able to do so in the future. Well, just a very quick update, because it's a big deal. They've essentially said they're now open to the possibility of cryptocurrencies again. So it'd be a fully regulated platform. It'd be like a NASDAQ. Not as large as a NASDAQ, but it'd be like that kind of level of exchange. So it's quite interesting, and it could be the first one of its kind. So we basically have more positive news and confirmation that this is likely to be one of the first at least proper exchanges that provide cryptocurrency trading services on it, and just cryptocurrencies at all. So big deal there. Last piece of news. So talking about Bitcoin right now, talking about the next upgrade post SegWit, which is going to be Schnorr signatures. And if you're unaware of Schnorr signatures are, this article is quite informative. It talks about how it's a consensus method which will be replacing the existing one, which uses the elliptical curve. Just to let you know, Schnorr also uses the mathematical ECDSA, which is the elliptical curve digital signature algorithm, to generate and produce the keys called SECP256K1. Okay, lots of fun phrases there, but ultimately it's just the way with which Bitcoin is verified, how private keys and public keys are generated, how blocks are confirmed. Currently we're using an elliptical curve, and Schnorr would still use an elliptical curve, but the benefits of Schnorr would be cheaper transactions. Just quickly going over. An improvement of multi-sig transactions, less network congestion, and also interesting enough, an increase in privacy and security to the network as a whole. Also, it gets it one step closer to being quantum resistant. But just to quickly go over some implications of this. Okay, so the tech built on top of Schnorr are being proposed on a regular basis. Due to a wealth of new discoveries lately, I believe these technologies should be developed in a step-by-step basis. And my focus for a first step is just Schnorr and Taproot. So now after this, I have to research what Taproot is. Referring to Bitcoin improvement Taproot proposed earlier this year by another influential Bitcoin developer, Greg Maxwell, to further improve Bitcoin's privacy. That said, there's still ways to go. Schnorr is a massive project with many moving pieces. So just quickly going over this. So any consensus change, I mean, if you remember the SegWit 2x upgrade, it basically divided the community. This is something that could also divide the community. And his ultimate position, the guy that developed this proposal and did the math behind it, is saying that ultimately he wants the community to decide whether or not this is implemented at all. The developers are going to debate it out, and then propose it to the community, and then the community gets to decide whether or not this is going to be implemented. It's actually quite a big deal. It could be quite a major improvement, but it is morphing Bitcoin into something that it's not previously. So just very quickly, like any consensus change, it will be a long process involving fully fleshing out a draft for integration, publishing it, gathering comments from the technical community and ecosystem, writing implementation of both consensus rules and integration in wallet software, proposing a deployment plan, and if all goes well, it gets activated. So Schnorr is a particularly big upgrade, although changes are being made to Bitcoin's most used client every day. Co-contributions coming from a diverse group of contributors stationed around the world. Schnorr is a rarer type of change since it affects the most important rules in Bitcoin. And this is why it's worth paying attention to, because Bitcoin could change for the worse through this. Now, just to quickly go over some controversy, okay, which is always hilarious. There's an argument that Bitcoin has been hijacked by Blockstream. They're paying, some of the developers to not implement a block size increase, and that's why the 2x part of the SegWit 2x didn't increase, because the blocks were meant to increase from 1 to 2, and people basically lied and said they were going to implement the complete upgrade, the 2x upgrade, SegWit 2x upgrade, and then only implemented their side of it, the SegWit side, and then just told everyone else to piss off. And that's when that's how Bitcoin Cash basically came to be, because people only did half the upgrade, and it's the Blockstream camp that basically did half the upgrade. And Blockstream has ties to a lot of traditionally elite financial institutions, which could be trying to hijack Bitcoin. Now, this developer is a Blockstream developer. So is the other person that's commenting on this. So it'd be interesting just to see where this goes. I'm not saying Bitcoin is changing for the worse. I'm saying we don't ultimately know. I 100% know for sure that I personally would not be able to understand the math that Schnorr signatures are based on, or to go through it. I'm just not that guy. Maybe one of you guys are, and if you're a coder as well, it could be nice to get some input. But it does make me a bit worried when I read an article that say this potentially could be the biggest change to Bitcoin yet, which would be changing one of the most sensitive, critical parts of Bitcoin. So that does just make my attention kind of focus on this a bit. So I think it's worth looking at. But there are a host of other crypto projects by the time this kind of gets released. If Bitcoin, for whatever reason, was to basically be hijacked, or whatever reason, if it even wasn't being hijacked, or if this was just a bad upgrade and we had some negative implications that we didn't see, some unknown unknowns that negatively impact Bitcoin, and the network falls prey to a host of issues, or people losing funds, or it just becomes insecure. There are other crypto projects out there. So by the time that happens, we probably should be doing you guys would be well aware and what's going on and why it's going on, and be able to kind of close the position if you are holding any BTC at that point. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Just to let you know, apologies for being away again. Had some real life personal issues I've had to kind of go with, and support some people. And just want to say thank you for supporting the channel, reaching out to me, and subscribing. If you want me to do any technical analysis, do leave a comment in the box below. Really appreciate it. And if you want to talk about anything that we've covered today, do leave a comment below. And of course, if you'd like to support the channel, there is Patreon. From a cup of coffee or less a month, you get exclusive content on there. I have had some scheduled posts go up on there periodically. I'm going to be releasing some scheduled content on the channel as well. I need to manually unlist it though. But it'll be released very soon. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. And I hope you have an amazing week, an amazing day. Catch you very, very soon in the next video. Wishing you guys all the very best.